Good morning. It is 34 minutes after 7 o'clock. And joining us in studio this morning, now officially, I guess you could say, Mayor of the City of Roswell, Dennis Kintigh, back with us this morning, sir.
Good morning.
I'm telling you, sausage McMuffin with egg with green chili on it is a game changer, isn't it?
Nick, you're a genius. Are you listening out there? Nick, you're a genius.
It's a whole nother sandwich when you do that.
Yep,
And,
all in. I'm all in on that.
when you get to McDonald's, especially teachers, you getting your free breakfast today,
Yep.
go ask them to slap some green chili. They may charge you for it, but it's worth it.
Right.
Pay that $1 or whatever it is for the green chili. It's totally worth it. So, how are you doing this morning? After a pretty lengthy evening of city council last night.
Yeah, it was a bit grueling, but we kind of knew that going in. We got done 11:35. We did have 12 items on our consent agenda. What does he mean? Well, a consent agenda is that part of the agenda that everyone agrees should just go forward.
Gotcha.
And it's like leases for hangars at the air center that have been renewed. They're being renewed. Same people, same purpose, same place, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Those kinds of things, repairs at a Honda Riverbank, some other work like that. So
Stuff that's either a no-brainer or stuff that we've have a great status relationship with this. It's just a matter of continuing that and dotting I's and crossing T's.
So that knocked 12 out of the 39 off, but it's still...
That cut a third out. I like that.
Yeah. Which kind of tells you how long it could have gone.
Yeah.
All right. So we had all 10 counselors there at the beginning. We lost a few along the way. I don't know where they're at. They're somewhere.
Stragglers. One had a flat tire.
So I began with a little quick announcement. Last week, everybody was focusing on the fair. Interestingly enough, the Roswell SWAT team, not the whole SWAT team, but 7 members of the Roswell SWAT team, were in Conroe, Texas from Wednesday through Monday.
Is this their competition?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was the Texas Tactical Officers, Police Officers Association.
Now, I'm curious, because the firefighters have their kind of firemen. How does this compare to that? I'm sure the contests are different, but is it in the similar vein to it?
Well, they try to simulate these situations, and they don't know what they're expected to do until just before, which is part of the SWAT experience.
Okay.
So there's a lot of physical fitness, there's shooting, there's endurance. They had the actual competition was 4 days.
Oh, wow.
It started Thursday,
so it's
Friday,
like an Olympics
Saturday.
kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, so they went through. So the Roswell team ended up 9th out of 33, which is very impressive. They beat much bigger cities like Waco, Texas, Round Rock, Texas, El Paso PD, and El Paso Sheriff's Office.
Nice.
I believe they were probably the highest ranked small city out there. And here's the thing. Our SWAT guys are all regular police officers. They're detectives, they're patrol.
The SWAT's their part-time gig.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a part-time gig. They got a full-time other job.
Thank goodness, to be honest. If we needed SWAT full-time, we probably live in a much rougher society than we want.
Exactly. But anyway, so I did a little shout-out to them and appreciated and want everybody to know about them.
Yeah, good. Congratulations to those guys.
All right. So we then had 2 presentations by the city manager. The one was on our parks staff restructuring, and what's happening now is we have teams of workers who are responsible for selected areas or parks. And one of the key things is there's now a team D is in Delta, that's responsible for the downtown area, including the city buildings down here and like the streets and the flower pots, those kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
So,
they're the dedicated personnel for that. That's
right.
What they
and
do
so
every
they will
day.
do everything that needs to be done unless it's something outside their skill sets, like a broken water main or whatever.
Okay. Are they the ones like I've seen like some of the cherry pickers clean up tree?
That could
group?
be them too.
Okay.
Depends. I'm not sure how far they can go.
Yeah, I know that. Like once they leave the ground, is that someone else's job?
Good morning. We had a presentation about the Public Affairs Department, and Mr. Nebb is very big on this. This is run by Juanita Jennings. Mm-hmm. We actually have something called We Believe Studios, and we have a YouTube page, YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And I go, what? City of Roswell has a YouTube channel. we have over 213 videos. And these are videos that are explain things like, how does the budget work?
Mm-hmm.
What is an enterprise fund? We have things like, how do you fill out the fix-it form on the city website? How do you go and pay your water bill online? These are all part of that.
Yeah.
Very educational, very informative.
Yeah, and then they also got some, meet the staff. So if you want to, I think there's ones for each of the city councilors, various department heads, and various city employees that handle unique parts of the city as a part of their job. There's all those kind of videos out there. So if you kind of want to, inside baseball on how some things are happening around the city, there's lots of videos talking about that, like how they maintain the parks and like during COVID, how they spray down all those.
How the landfill works.
Yeah, there's all kinds of videos like that up there. So odds are pretty good if you're, and you know what? Because everyone's got wonderful ideas on how things should be run. If you're kind of like, well, you should do that, well, go watch one of these videos. Maybe they're already doing what you're saying and didn't realize it. And maybe go dig through there first before you start complaining about some things.
Bingo. So we were actually almost an hour into this before we got to our first real item.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot to mention, we did an honoring of Jake Trujillo. Jake Trujillo of the one of the veterans here. Every day at noon, Jake goes down to South Park Cemetery and plays taps. Mm-hmm. He is an accomplished musician. And so we recognized he's been doing it for over 20 years. He's going to keep on doing it. He's not retiring.
Is he grooming a replacement?
Huh?
Is he grooming a replacement by chance?
Not that I know of.
We got to get someone to play a bugle.
Good luck with that. Good luck.
Not many people play the bugle. It's not like the trumpet.
Anyway, so Jake, we did a proclamation recognizing him, thanking him, and later on, we appointed him to the cemetery board.
All right.
So he's on that.
While you're here.
While you're here. Wait. Don't leave yet. So the first item up of real work was what we called an appeal hearing. Okay. Back in August, we had voted to condemn a property down on the base.
Okay.
That the owner of that property came in and said, "Hey, I'm trying to fix it up. I hired a contractor who didn't pull the permits like he was supposed to.
Gotcha.
This guy has disappeared. I'm kind of screwed. Don't let's."
He's where and he's trying to do something.
Right.
So usually you guys are working with people that work with the city on these kinds
and
of things.
So what we did is it was an hour discussion on this one too. It's kind of sad, but we spent an hour on this one, and the end result is we rescinded the condemnation. Now, here's the trick. This gentleman still has to do these repairs. He also has to comply with all the requirements of a meeting code. In other words, there has to be inspections of the building by our building inspectors, which they weren't able to do. There was some work done that was never inspected.
I gotcha. Okay.
And that is a big no-no.
So it sounds like he just had a bad run-in with a bad contractor.
Yeah, and so we're gonna help him in the sense that we're gonna cut some slack and let him try and work this out. But here's the takeaway, people. If you get one of these condemnation letters for some property you own, go in, sit down with the city staff, and don't ignore the letters. Make sure that you hire a licensed contractor, which in some cases you have to. If it's a rental property, you can't do it yourself. And that's not a city ordinance. That's state law.
Gotcha.
Good, bad, or ugly. You don't like that, talk to your legislators.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time on that one, and we're trying to do the right thing. So we move forward with that.
Obviously, the city doesn't want to sit there and condemn everybody's buildings and everything. So if you are making an active effort to try to fix the problem, the city will work with you on that. And this sounds like it's one of those cases. Like, hey, the guy is trying. We can see there's evidence there. He's just had a run of bad luck. However, time is getting short. Here's your warning or whatever.
Right.
We're done messing around. Get you a good contractor. Get this rectified.
Next up was the continuing saga of writing the city ordinances dealing with marijuana.
Okay.
So we're still working on this. We may get one more of these in the near future, but it's really in the weeds, and is Snooze City, but it's all kinds of details on how you do this, what you do, blah, blah, blah.
The
how that
devil's
goes.
in the details.
Devil's in the details.
Yeah.
We actually didn't spend a lot of time on that one because everybody kind of understands we're working through it. So that was 8-2.
Okay.
Councilors Moore and Sanchez are just like, hey, we don't want anything to do with this, and I get it. Problem is, we don't have any latitude.
The horse has already gotten out the barn here.
Yeah.
We gotta do something about it.
So we moved on. We skipped over all the consent items. We got into some other stuff. We're changing the date of the city council meeting in November to the 18th of November.
Yes.
Because November 11th is Veterans Day,
Yes.
and it's a holiday, so we're not meeting that day.
Yes.
So I'm coming here on the 18th, right?
Yes, we're gonna. Yeah, we'll get you on the 18th and
Okay.
19th. Or,
Good to know.
Yeah.
Then we had this is something Councilor Perry came forward with. The Biden administration came out with this wonderful idea that 30% of all the land in the United States should be wilderness. Now, this is not just federal land, but this is like wilderness that is never touched, like up on El Capitan. There's sections there you can walk on, you can hike on, you cannot drive, you can't take an ATV. I think you can take a horse, you can't take a bicycle. It's like, yeah.
A bicycle?
Bicycle. No bicycles.
How has anybody hurt the land with a bicycle?
Hey, don't ask me, but that's the way it works.
Short of just chucking the bicycle in the woods and leaving it there, how are you hurting?
Yeah, that's wilderness area. 30%. And the concern is that this ain't going to be 30% of Connecticut or Rhode Island. This is going to be made up for with a big chunk from New Mexico.
You think New York City's going to give up some of their urban lands to make some wilderness for the? No.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not short of the zombie apocalypse. Then that could happen. So that we had a little discussion, debate on that one. It was 8-2 on that one.
Well, just to help out, I'm going to go to my house and devote 30% of it and put some plants in there. Here we go. Just to keep within the spirit.
You're the boss. Yeah.
I'll let the cats kind of meander in that side too.
The next one we basically kind of stumbled on, and this one was it's a little complicated. It deals with development of residential neighborhoods, not nude. New.
I was like, whoa, we just changed gears quickly.
No, sorry about that.
Like, we got those?
5 hours of sleep. 5 hours of sleep. Nothing. Anyway, so what the city manager and staff and some counselors have been working on is a program where if somebody comes along and builds a new development, put in water and sewer and electrical and streets and whatnot.
Extend the lines out, basically.
Yeah, basically, and do this whole thing. And then that becomes city property, not the electrical, but everything else.
Sure.
The interesting thing about it is, like with the water and sewer in particular, once people hook up to that, they become customers.
Yes.
Forever. So
at least as long as you live there.
Well, as long as that house is standing, somebody in there is paying.
Right.
So where we're going with this is, does it really make sense to stick all of that cost on to ultimately the buyer of the house? So this is an effort to try and work through this. The problem was it's a bit complex, and the bigger problem was it got changed. The version that we were working with got changed a couple times, and then last night, Councilor Stubbs said, "Whoa, I need to make some more changes." And at this point, the wheels are coming off. We took a break.
Okay.
I called for a break, and basically what we're doing is we're postponing it till the next meeting.
Okay.
And
sounds like there's some more work that in the language.
Yeah, it's like not ready for prime time type thing.
Okay. So that come back up next month?
Could actually come before because we may be having a special.
Okay.
Anyway, approval of some state DOT projects that sailed through. And about this time, Councilor Moore was not feeling well. She was miserable. You could see the allergies had just kicked in. She's like going through the tissues, and she goes, yeah. And I said, hey, no problem.
I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
Allergies.
we got you.
No fun.
All right. The next one it's kind of an interesting saga, and this is another one we spent like an hour on. Okay, we have Spring River Park, runs across Spring River, and it's got a trail on it, Spring River Park Trail. There's Cielo Grande. There's a big trail circles around that. They do not connect.
Right.
Officially.
Until now.
Well, they still don't connect.
Well, until soon.
So we had a while back, and I think it's been probably 4 or 5 months, looked at running a trail down the alley just to the east of the golf course.
Okay.
The people lived on the east side of the alley, had some serious objections to that whole arrangement. And although the council had been briefed on it, the council said, nah, try something else.
Okay.
So the Parks and Recreation Commission, the General Services Committee, these folks have been working for a long time trying to come up with an alternative. Streets Department. And what they came up with was the idea of Mississippi. Now, North Mississippi from Riverside to 8th, it's actually wider than Montana. A lot of people said, why don't you do Montana? Montana doesn't have curb and gutter the whole length. Montana is actually narrower. And the idea is that on the west side of Mississippi, you'd stripe it for a bike walking lane.
Okay.
And put up no parking.
Okay.
Which all sounds reasonable and everything like that, except for the people that lived there didn't like it. And they showed up.
Okay.
And they expressed themselves. So this is democracy in action. Actually, there are 6 people signed up to speak on this one. And
is it they just afraid there's too many people? It's going to create too much traffic there?
Well, some of them didn't want traffic. Some of them wanted to have it didn't want to lose the parking option, even though there's no houses at front onto Mississippi from the west side of the street, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, but end result was there were 4 yeses, 5 nos, and it failed.
So back to the drawing board.
Back to the drawing board. We'll see. I think what we're going to have to do eventually, because this is the second bite of this apple, is we're going to have to basically have to go to the end where the bird sanctuary is, the trail. There's a little spur that goes off that goes behind Nazarene Church, goes up to 8th Street and ends.
Okay.
We're going to have to figure a way to get that spur either along 8th and then across 8th or across 8th somewhere and somehow interconnect it. We'll see. It's unfortunate. I know a lot of people poured their efforts into this.
Sure.
But
now, just out of curiosity, the people that were against this last night, are they for connecting these two, but just not this way? Or are they like, no, we don't want nothing to do with it. We don't leave it alone, and
many of them suggested in Montana.
Okay.
The city engineer, Mr. Nahar, talked about why that was not the desirable one.
Okay.
A lot of them said the alley, and of course we went down that. We've already been down that road.
Sure.
They're not opposed to the idea.
Okay.
They just don't want it. Not in my backyard.
Sure. The NIMBY.
NIMBY. And that's the way it works.
All right. Well, then I guess the planners and engineers will get back to the drawing board and see if we can come up with another option.
So by this point, like I said, we spent an hour on this. This is now 10:30 at night. 10:30, I take another recess because we need it. We've gone through the ringer on this one.
Bleary-eyed.
And we lost 2 more counselors, Counselor Foster and Counselor Sanchez. Counselor Foster, I know, has teacher meetings today.
I was going to say, yeah, he had his day job.
He's got a day job. We kept on going through, and actually things kind of really picked up at this point. We zipped through a lot of things that we're dealing with. The sale of the land to Ergon Asphalt, that's the emulsion plant down at the base. We accepted the really mundane, don't build a skyscraper on the property and interfere with the flight pattern. Mm-hmm. That rule from the FAA. So we got that done. We approved 2 collective bargaining agreements, one with police officers and one with utility workers. We this was interesting. This came up when we were doing the final budget back in July.
Okay.
We did appropriate funding for resurfacing and repair of the Cahoon Park tennis courts.
Okay.
So that got done in a more orderly manner. I actually broke a tie on that one and said, no, we're not going to squeeze this in now, but we're going to deal with it. We did. So we're going to get that done. We had a citywide program for neighborhood streets. So what am I talking about here? So we had appropriated $500,000 to do micro, kind of like resurfacing a little bit. It's not like a mill and fill. It's a much more simple process.
It's more than filling in potholes, but less than resurfacing.
Correct. So we have $500,000, and what the plan is that we would spread that throughout the whole city rather than one neighborhood or one part of the city getting all the work. It was to be spread. It's to be spread throughout the city through the 5 wards.
Gotcha.
So what we got last night was the list for each of the wards, and although it's more than $100,000 worth of work per ward, we got to see what the priorities. And the priorities were picked by the staff based on that pavement assessment we had done. So it's a little bit different way of doing things, but it's to ensure that this is evenly distributed around the city, that we don't have one part getting all the attention and the other part being ignored.
Gotcha.
Well, we had a little bit of a discussion, but not as much as I had thought. And this one went through. Councilor Orpesa didn't like it, but it still passed 6-1.
Okay.
So we were rocking and rolling. That, I think, basically when we came back from the break at 10:31, I threatened to boil them in oil if we didn't buckle down. Not quite. Well, not quite. But there was a whole lot of 7-0 votes, and let's put it this way: we were done with all of that stuff by about
the fire was lit.
Yeah, we did all that in about 50 minutes.
Of course, they were probably just as anxious to get out of there as you were. So.
Yeah, so we did about 15 items in like 50 minutes. All right, we have a few housekeeping, and then at the very end, city manager gave us a report on upcoming events, and one of the things mentioned is this afternoon's all-inclusive park.
Yes. Meeting, I guess.
Yeah, it's
presentation.
We're gonna. It's not a groundbreaking because we don't have a contractor yet, but it's going to be dedication.
Yeah, maybe that's a good word.
Okay, appreciation. I think what it is, we're calling it a appreciation celebration.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is like, wow. Sometimes I think Mr. Nebb's a better politician than I am. Where'd you come up with it? What appreciation celebration?
I know we need another adjective.
Whoa! There we go. Bipolar. No, wait, never mind. No, we're not going to go down that road. Transportation. Anyway, so we're doing the appreciation celebration for the and we're going to have some different speakers, folks from Kiwanis Autism. Apparently, the governor sent down a proclamation. She's not going to attend, and
that's too bad.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm behaving myself. Governor gave a lot of money in capital outlay for this. We're going to have to. And the interesting thing is that there's cities putting a chunk into this too, and a lot of people don't appreciate that or recognize that. End result is we got done. There was a couple of things that we stumbled on. The condemnation. I'm hopeful that we can have the owner down there succeed in getting their property redone. They got taken advantage of by an unlicensed contractor, and that's really, man, I cannot stress enough. Especially we have like a hailstorms come through, and that damages people's roofs, and you end up with these ne'er-do-wells that come through.
Yeah.
Make sure you deal with a licensed, bonded contractor. Somebody that will pull the permits, because, I mean, the staff is really in an awkward position. They don't want to cause people grief, but hey, you've got to do what the state statute says.
Yeah, it's that's why they always say do your homework for picking contractors and things.
Right.
So, we're out of time here, but it sounded like a lot got done, despite the fact it did take long time to get there.
Yeah.
Of course, if you'd love to see it, you can go back and watch.
You
any part of it.
can.
Roswell-nm.gov. You'll find it there at your leisure. There and all the city. Well, at least not every single, but one for the last couple of years anyway.
Yeah.
City council meetings there.
And they're out there. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Go. Do you get to get a little lesser day today, or is it pretty busy?
I got to do we're going to do the dedication, and then actually we're going to slip out of town. Going to go see our oldest daughter.
Well, good. Safe travels.
All right.
We'll see you next time here.
Yes, sir.
A couple weeks, I'm guessing. At some point, we'll see you again.
Yeah, I know.
I got a feeling I'll see you before next month.
I do. I agree. We're gonna have some interesting stuff.
Very good.
All
Take
right.
care and have a great weekend.
All right.
It is.